Hey everyone, my name's Allie and I'm the graduate dietetic intern here at the Health Promotion Office at NAU, and today I just wanted to go over eating disorders and body image. Here we just have an outline of what I'll go over today, so we'll briefly talk about the types of eating disorders. We'll go over some typical dieting behaviors, some warning signs of an eating disorder or development of an eating disorder, what the appearance ideal is, and how we can change the culture around dieting and body image, and then we'll finally go over some tips on what you can do to try to challenge that appearance ideal. There are multiple types of eating disorders that can be clinically classified, such as the ones we most often hear about, like anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder. However, there are other diagnosable eating disorders that are not as often heard about, such as other specified feeding or eating disorder, aka OSFED, or avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, aka ARFID. And these are still diagnosable within the DSM-5. However, they typically encompass those that do not meet the strict criteria of the more common eating disorders, and they usually have their own set of criteria. For example, OSFED is more of an umbrella term for those that do not meet anorexia or bulimia criteria, and ARFID is within its own category, so it is a limitation of the intake of food, but there is no conscious distress towards the body. So one eating disorder that is seemingly growing in popularity would be orthorexia, and that is because the growth and use of social media. And orthorexia is just the obsession or compulsion with eating healthy foods, and this obsession and compulsion is usually very extreme. Two other eating disorders that you've probably never heard of or aren't included as diagnosable in the DSM-5 are diabulimia and drunkorexia. So diabulimia is when type 1 diabetics purposefully give themselves less insulin in order to lose weight. So just a brief overview, our cells need sugar from the food that we eat to get energy, and insulin helps get that sugar into the cell. When this process doesn't happen, your body thinks that it's starving, so it tries to break down another type of energy source, which is fat, in order to feed the cells. So this process can be very dangerous to diabetics and can lead to something called diabetic ketoacidosis. As for drunkorexia, this is just when people purposely refuse to eat during the day and then later engage in binge drinking behaviors so that they can easily get drunk. And then they typically respond to this by binge eating non-nutritious foods. So this type of disordered eating behavior is typically seen amongst college students or heavy weekend drinkers. The one characteristic that all of these eating disorders have in common is that there is some type of body image concerns, even body dysmorphia, that has to be addressed. Unfortunately, those with an eating disorder feel that these measures of addressing their body image concerns are constructive for them, when in reality, there are other ways that they can be addressed. Now that we know the types of eating disorders that are out there, it would be helpful to know what some of the warning signs are if you feel that you or a friend or loved one might be dealing with an eating disorder. Keep in mind that just having one of these warning signs does not mean that someone or yourself has an eating disorder. It would typically include a wide array of warning signs that are at a much deeper level. So some emotional and behavioral signs might include using food to cope with stressful life events or even emotions, basing your self-worth on body image and weight. It could be avoiding social gatherings where food might be involved because one might feel uncomfortable eating in front of others. It could be secretly eating just out of fear, disapproval, or judgment from others. And overly using social media, especially accounts that focus on unrealistic body image or dietary habits. As for some physical warning signs to be mindful of would be fatigue or overall body weakness due to low food intake, always feeling cold because there's such a lack of food supply and diminished blood flow to keep up the body's normal temperature. There could be irregular or even absence of menstrual periods due to lack of sufficient body mass, and finally, noticeable weight fluctuations. So if you want to know more warning signs and symptoms of eating disorders, it would be really helpful to check out the National Eating Disorder Association website for a more extensive list by eating disorder. One way eating disorders might be perpetuated is by dieting. Dieting is one of the most important predictors of whether or not someone will have or might develop an eating disorder. This is so crucial because even those that moderately diet, like track their food or moderately restrict their calories, are 5 times more likely to develop an eating disorder. And even those that engage in extreme dieting behaviors like food group restriction, limited eating, other dietary behaviors are 18 times more likely to develop an eating disorder. So this just goes to show that even the smallest of dieting behaviors can manifest into more serious health problems. So much so that 62.3% of teenage girls and 28.3% of teenage boys try to lose weight and engage in unhealthy weight control behaviors like dieting. Okay, now on to the appearance ideal. So the appearance ideal is promoting thinness, ultra slender, or ultra fit appearances at any cost because these are perceived as quote unquote healthy. You often see this heavily promoted by media and the weight loss industry. So some ways that someone might achieve this so-called ideal might include abusing laxatives to rapidly empty the bowels as a way to get rid of unwanted calories from food. It could include excessively exercising and dieting out of fear of gaining weight and not being able to achieve this ideal. Engaging in substance abuse to ward off hunger, and even drastic measures like cosmetic surgery to try to achieve a more permanent solution. It's important to know that the appearance ideal doesn't always equate to a healthy ideal, which is what we want. It's important to note that on an average, men that are approximately 5'7" and weigh around 197 pounds and women that are 5'2", weigh around 170 pounds, consist of healthy body composition like lean muscle mass, fat mass, and bone mass. So in reality, the way to maintain and achieve a healthy body composition is through a nutritious and balanced diet and reasonably moderate physical activity. Sometimes when we pursue this appearance ideal, there are often very high costs associated with trying to achieve it. This might include losing money by buying weight loss items like diet supplements, trying to buy clothes that have slimming features, or signing up for multiple gym or fitness programs that promise quick and rapid weight loss plans. It could be decreasing self-worth because this is a level of perfection that is basically impossible to obtain, and trying to change your body to achieve a certain appearance and becoming increasingly upset when your body doesn't look the way that the media portrays other bodies. It's time wasted on mentally and physically fixating on what seems like health but really isn't. This could include tracking calories, making body measurements, avoiding time that could be spent with family and friends, and even thinking about food. Dieters are known to think about food twice as much as non-dieters, which just goes to show how much energy the appearance ideal takes away from someone. It can lead to physical and mental health concerns like fixation on dieting and exercising, fatigue, even GI upset due to binging and purging, and increased stress because it becomes harder and harder to maintain this type of lifestyle. And there's heightened weight stigma by placing self-worth on weight and appearance as opposed to character. So are we really gaining anything by trying to achieve the appearance ideal? There are ways that we can stand up to the appearance ideal and challenge these so-called health behaviors. Keep in mind that these can be done for oneself or can be done to encourage friends and family members that might be struggling with the appearance ideal and body image. Some tips on taking action and supporting a healthy ideal instead of the appearance ideal would be surrounding yourself with encouraging and positive notes about your body and your character and placing them in areas that you frequently visit. It could be engaging in physical activities that are focused more on having a good time as opposed to weight and physical appearance. It's helpful to put the scale away so that no one feels compelled to consistently check their weight. You can also limit time on social media to prevent going down that rabbit hole of fitness and nutrition accounts. You can also ditch the diet mentality and conversation and politely change the subject if it ever comes up. You can also write down 10 things that you love about yourself to promote more positive self-thinking. And you can also shop and wear clothes that are not only comfortable but make you feel good about yourself and your body. Each of these helps build you and others up while taking the focus off of appearance and diet culture. Another way that you can take action is by getting set up with remote resources, especially if you feel that you need more information or guidance. This includes campus health, counseling, medical, or nutrition services, which you can get in touch by calling the number and setting up an online appointment. And there are also great online tools that you can use, like the National Eating Disorder Association, for more information on eating disorder characteristics, common myths, and even prevention. Or you can visit ulifeline.com/NAU for online screening tools. You can look at student resources, personal stories, and a whole lot more. If you feel like you still have questions or just want to talk to somebody about body image or eating disorders, feel free to call Health Promotion, or you can email us, and we would be more than happy to help you and get you plugged into some other resources. You can also call or email our registered dietitian, Megan Meyer, for any new information.